Can you hear me, Tim?
I can hear you loud and clear. I'm having trouble hearing Dana now.
Right, exactly. Well, where are you from, Tim? You're in Canada?
I am in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And how about yourself? You said North Carolina, is that what I heard?
Well, let's keep going, brother.
Yes, sounds good. So prior to being Dean of Education, I served in K-12 education. So I was a classroom teacher. I served as an assistant principal, a principal, and as a school superintendent.
I'm going to add Rob Martinez, third guest to the stage. Rob is most recently superintendent, chief of human resources. He is retired from the Antioch Unified School District after 38 years in public education. Dr. Martinez has continually focused on improving and expanding educational opportunities for students. He strives to advance understanding of resiliency research for all of his employees, students, and their families. He frequently says, "We help others live, be the measure of our success."
Hi, everybody.
Great. How you doing? Good to see you.
Rob.
Sorry, I was just
How are you?
here. I was not there. I'm fantastic. Thank you so much, Dana. It's great to be with you.
Great.
Rob, how's it going in California? How's the weather?
It's gorgeous today. Just in Northern California, we're at about 75 degrees outside already, and it's just going to be beautiful and sunny. Little heat wave last week, maybe some snow coming in this next week, so a little, give and take.
I'm sure Canada has a lot of snow right now, right?
Yeah, even though spring has sprung, we're still getting flurries and some snowfall here in Edmonton. We're expecting about an inch of snow overnight, and it's a balmy 40 degrees here Fahrenheit.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're used to it, though. It's tough. We're tough up here. So
how many people in your program, Tim?
So I have 200 early career teachers. So we're a 2-year after degree program. And I also have 3 educational minor programs. So students who are doing their undergraduate degree can focus in early childhood preparation. We also have a physical education and wellness specialty, and as well, just as a more rounded out educational minor where students can get a sense of, do I want to become a teacher? And we're hoping they will. So yeah, our program is going to be 30 years old this spring. And for me, it's just so exciting to see these next generation of teachers and how we can best support and prepare them to do the great work we need them to do. And, I'm all about thriving, not just surviving those first few years. And I think if we're going to be more effective of retaining teachers, there's a lot more we can do in our schools with our existing tenured teachers and staff to really take these new teachers under their wing and support them to a greater degree.
What is Canada's definition of early childhood?
Early childhood would be basically 4 and 5-year-olds, so kind of kindergarten or pre-kindergarten.
Okay. So that's your cohort right now. And you also said physical education?
Physical education and wellness. So that's in our minors programs, but my Bachelor of Education is a 2-year after degree program. So students have to have a bachelor degree first, and then they do a second degree in education over 2 years. We're elementary preparation focused, and we are working with a lot of local area schools. Because we're a smaller program, my teachers are in high demand for placements, and we're growing the program where we're adding another cohort of 35 students for the fall. So it's great to, really see that our government is really serious about, addressing teacher shortages and, how we can, as I said, better prepare our early career teachers to feel more capable, more confident, more resilient in wanting to stay in the profession. Because like the States, here in Canada, we're seeing teachers leaving in greater numbers than we would like. And so my work is really, how can we better prepare for retention? And really, I think it's investing in our existing teachers to help them understand how to be a more intentional mentor to a new or an early career teacher.
So in Canada, what you're saying is I earned my bachelor's, whether it be 4 or 5 years, and then to become an educator, I have to go 2 more years.
So correct. But there's a different pathway. You could do a 4-year undergraduate degree in education and be certified to teach. We are people who have done an undergraduate degree, whether a 3 or a 4-year Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, whatever it might be. And they say, well, you know what, maybe I would like to be a teacher. So we have a 2-year specialized program that has 2 teaching practica. So you do kind of a 6-week practica in year 1, and then 12 weeks in the second year. And there's coursework in between. And so we really give the students an opportunity to go deep into not just the theory, but the practice, and working with their cooperating teacher and a university facilitator who will help support and guide that learning. So I'm in my 3rd year as the dean. So as I said, I retired as a superintendent of a large school board, 50,000 students, 100 schools. And I wanted to go back to school, back to university. My own children, I have 3 sons, my younger 2 are both trained teachers now. And as I contemplated my 30 years in education, I thought, what are the next 3 years going to look like, let alone 30? Right. So I don't just have skin in the game, I have kin in the game. And I really want to help my sons understand, what the noble vocation of teaching, the calling of teaching as Amen. Vocation, and how we really get to impact and influence the lives of so many people. And I think that's the joy, that's the richness, that's the power of being a teacher. But we have to bracket that with a lot of the challenges, a lot of the negativity, some of the pressure points that we see in media today, or, that we're feeling, teachers don't always necessarily feel valued or appreciated or respected. How do we help our early career teachers? And our early career teachers aren't just, brand new out of university. The average age of students in my program in year 1 is about 30 years old. We're seeing more people who have maybe had a first or a second career. An example I always share is I had this amazing student. He's an engineer, civil engineer. He ran an engineering firm in the city here for 10 years. He has 4 very young children of his own. And he thought, I think I want to be an elementary teacher. So he set engineering aside, came through our program, and now he's having just a wonderful experience being a grade 4th grade teacher here in a nearby school. So we're getting folks from who maybe have been a teacher assistant, an educational assistant for many, many years. So we had another remarkable story. I had a lady who graduated last year, 52 years old. Her daughter, 26, is graduating this year. So a nice mother-daughter story. So we're seeing folks from different backgrounds in terms of, as I said, first or second career coming into the teaching space. And I think that's fantastic. It's not just a cadre of young people, right? As I said, right out of university. Right. It's folks from different walks, different professions, trades coming into the teaching ranks now. And I think we really need to celebrate and encourage more of that, particularly because we need more teachers.
I agree, Tim. And Rob, you have such a rich surrounded system as a superintendent in California. And how did you work with the universities like Tim and all these alt certs?
Well, there's so many different pathways that we had to create in California to get people into the classroom, which on one hand was exciting and new and original. You have a bachelor's degree? Guess what? With a little bit of paperwork, you probably can teach now. And we'd have to go through an entire process of determining what somebody might be eligible to teach, because we were such in need and still are for certified teachers in our classrooms. But the system was kind of taken apart for a while with the credentialing issues. And so it's been trying to cobble it back together with pathways in so that people could get emergency credentials. The old emergency credentials were kind of put on the side, but then we had the preliminary credentials, and we had short-term staffing permits, and we have then internship permits. So there's multiple ways where districts, basically working with the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, could say, we have this individual who we think is can be in the classroom, and what kind of way can we go through to get them in there. The good thing is we were able to get some more people into classrooms for students. The difficulty, and this is the truth, when Tim was talking about enculturating people, building their skills, creating an art form, the quick way into the classroom really limits a lot of that success that you want to have for a teacher to thrive. And so what we started to do in some of my districts, okay, we could hire you, but then through our induction program, only those that were working officially after their credential could get support and service from the district. And it didn't make sense to me. So we started a pre-induction program in several of my districts where we said, these people are going to be in the classroom. We cannot just say, there's the door, here's some books, good luck. We had to help them really tell their own story of success. So with those that were associated with universities, some amazing universities in California, where kids can go in and they can really still do the process. But if you needed to work and you needed to be part of the district, we needed to start giving you professional development, emotional development, those strategies and those skills from the district. And there are districts now that have started, programs with the university so we can do it all together. But some of our districts are so rural or detached that they don't have the university right next door. So you really need to be creative in putting resources, and this is another thing in California, towards this development so that we can really work on keeping people in the classroom successfully. Because, we all know if you have unsuccessful teachers who are not connecting with students, engaging with students, delivering in a way that you're growing the support or the student themselves, it may not be a good fit. And we don't want to have districts just keeping people for the sake of having people in there without being able to do the job correctly.
Yes.
So it really is incumbent upon superintendents working with their school boards, working their educational division to really craft these different ways to support new teachers. And I'll take it to another level. Administrators también. I mean, we really need to give our administrative team the support. You can't just kind of go, okay, well, you've been in the classroom 10 years. You've never thought about administration. Graduate. Next week, you're an assistant principal. That person's not going to be successful. We need to grow these people. We need to give them the lessons. We need to give them the skills. We need to give them the emotional opportunity to see what it's like. And I'll tell you, it's not easy in any of these roles. And so when we face that with the reality of we need to do a lot of support, we're going to be more successful. So it sounds like, Tim's program of really giving some time for people is a really great way to do it. Another part of this process is in California, we have probationary periods. So once you get into the classroom and you have your credential, we really only have about 18 months to decide, are we going to give you tenure? Are you going to be part of our system for a very long time? And so in those 18 months, man, we should be giving and giving and giving, checking and support some more, giving the love to really come to a good decision for the individual and for the school system that this is the right place for this person to be to provide service to students. I've had folks where, sometimes I've had to let them go and I kind of think, did I do the right thing for them? When we've done all the right things and we've made that decision, it's not an easy one, but at least you have some way to help the person understand. And Perfect. I've also had some people, as Tim said, maybe we're not ready for it yet. And so, you're not ready yet, but we need to do some more. Yeah. And then they've come back and been successful. So it's not like the kiss of death, as they say. I mean, you really, it should be a learning opportunity for everybody, especially our teachers and our administrators who are doing the important work directly with our kids.
Thank you for sharing that. As Dana, she's texting me right now, and let's go back to because the introductions were a little bit rough as she was giving us the introduction.
I was late.
Let's go back to Tim. Just a quick intro, and I know let's do this as a 3-part, and let's not take a lot of because we have a certain time limit on this.
Yeah.
So introduce yourself real quick. How did you meet Dana? We got to give her props on 400, baby.
That's right, 400.
All right, you got to give her props on 400. And she gave us like a little thing to spotlight on. That's why she invited us on this just awesome memorial event of 400. So who you are, how did you meet Dana? And the last part, she wanted us to highlight something about it. So Tim, you got it, brother.
Great, thank you very much. So again, Dr. Tim Cusack, and I have 32 years experience. I've been a classroom teacher. I'm always a teacher at heart, teacher first. But I've served in rural and suburban school boards in Alberta, Canada. And I was a principal of 3 different schools. I had a chance to serve as a superintendent and then deputy chief superintendent, where I was responsible for the formation and mentorship of aspiring school leaders. I did my doctorate from the University of Portland in Oregon, and my focus was on how do we build more capable, self-efficacious school leaders, resilient school leaders. And what I learned is we need to go further upstream. And so I had a chance to connect with Dana on an earlier episode of the podcast, where my co-author, Dr. Vince Bustamante, and I talked about our book called Leader Ready, 4 Pathways to Prepare Aspiring School Leaders. And since that 2 years ago, we've crafted 2 new texts. And one is called Navigating the First Years. It's a toolkit for new teachers, early career teachers. And we want to make sure we are equipping them not just to survive, but to thrive, to provide them, beyond that induction piece, that soft landing where the existing staff is really going to help mentor and guide them. And so the Navigating the First Years book looks at the importance of culturally responsive practice, well-being and balance. And I think the more we can talk to our new teachers about their own mental health, their own wellness, that's going to give them a perspective to really bring into the profession, understanding that there's going to be some challenges and issues, but we have supports in place and structures in place to help walk with them, walk alongside them. So we have a whole chapter on being new. We've all been new at some point, new in the profession, new school, new community, teaching in a different state, perhaps. So how to figure out your new school, your new community, how to make those connections and partnerships. We go a whole chapter on the art and design of lesson planning and design. We also talk about the importance of building a strong foundation of instructional practice. So again, the book is so prescriptive in terms of tried and true practices that have been informed by voices from the field. We connected with recent graduating classes from education programs. We asked the questions, what did we get right in your preparation? Or what else do you think would have been helpful? What's something else that might have been useful for you to better prepare you? And their feedback is what we're feeding forward in the work we're doing with different states. We're working with North Dakota. ND Rise is their state-sponsored teacher mentorship program. It is amazing. A gold star in terms of how they are investing in intentional new teacher mentorship. And so, as I said, we have the new teachers book. We also have a companion book, which is called the Mentor's Guidebook. And it's really predicated in unleashing your potential as a mentor to an early career teacher to get beyond that survival mode into thriving and retention. And, I mentored a lot of early career teachers, but I didn't necessarily have any formation or training in how to be a more intentional or effective mentor to an early career teacher. So what we have created is a bit of a self-inventory. Who am I as a mentor? What is sort of my default setting as a mentor? So we talk about the ABCDs of mentoring, the attitudes that we bring into the mentoring space. Why do I want to be a mentor? Was I told to, or do I really want to help prepare this early career teacher to help them be successful? We talk about our own biases, professional biases, affinity biases, cultural biases, generational biases that are prevalent in the education space. How, as a mentor, do we bracket that bias and really see the human being that's in front of us and how to best help prepare them for their future, not our past. So how I was raised and mentored as a beginning teacher might not be, as effective as some new approaches that we want to instill in our grads today coming forward. We also talk about the conceptual understanding of mentoring. What are the strengths, the skills, the considerations that you need to think about? And then we get into our dispositions. That's our inclination to do something about mentoring. And so we also have an inventory that we look at traditional approaches to mentoring, interdependent approaches, that learning from and with. We look at the metacognitive aspects of mentoring a new teacher, and we talk about the environmental factors of how to really work well and create conditions to grow your mentee and really in a very supportive and productive environment. Then, so that's kind of the first half of the mentoring book. Then we get into routines and approaches and strategies to build that mentorship momentum. And then we talk about when it's a time to ease back, step back, and then really raise the authority of your mentee. So we prepared a gradual release of responsibility model that we leveraged in our leadership development book. And so all these texts really are companions. In the new teacher book, we give some guiding questions. Ask your mentor teacher about this. Or if you're in doubt, here's some strategies, approaches you should be considering or thinking about. Right. And then in the mentoring book, we say, hey, your mentee, this new teacher might have some questions for you. Here's how you might think about these, or here's how you might approach it. So what we've really created is a very guided, practical, hands-on, and meaningful set of books that shake hands with each other to bring the mentee and the mentor together in that same space to grow them both together. And in doing so,
you have a copy of the book around you? You have a copy of it so you can see it?
Yeah, they look like these. Here they are. Yeah. And I feel like Moses here holding the 10 Commandments here. So
hey, Moses, you got it. You're preaching right now. You're in choir, bro.
But what we're really
are those on Amazon?
They're on Amazon and through Corwin.com. And
Corwin, great company,
Corwin, yeah. So I'm doing some consulting work and really loving that because I'm so passionate about just teaching people how to fish. I am more important that the research, the ideas get into the hands of our school systems, our jurisdictional leaders, our principals, because as I said, my own kids are brand new teachers. I want nothing more than their success. I want nothing more than the success of all of our beginning teachers. We know there's a global deficit. We need 20 million teachers globally by 2030. So if we're not being more intentional, and as I said, I think, and by the way, we're proud to say this was Corwin's title of the year because we are training existing teachers how to be more effective, impactful mentor to a new teacher, to an early career teacher. And what we're learning in our work with North Dakota in particular is that it is providing a baseline of understanding, experiential learning, and guidance in how to really bring more intention into the mentorship role in the mentorship space. I wish I had that when I was a principal, even, going back 15 years. I wish I had more strategies and approaches of how to, beyond induction, beyond onboarding, we're promoting mentorship, not over like 1 or 2 years. We're talking up to that first 5 years.
Yes, sir.
In the profession. We want to really give time, grace, and space for these early career teachers to get connected to the community and feel that they belong and that their voice is important. Back to that interdependent mindset of learning from and with. I am learning so much from my early career education students, my pre-service teachers. I observed some science demonstrations I did recently. Amazing to see how passionate they are and creative they are and innovative they are. And ultimately, what we see through all of this work, what we see through all of our research, we see the children first. We see kids and the importance of forming kids to become great citizens. And I think that is the power of education and how we support our new teachers, our existing teachers, our school leaders, and support our district leaders in understanding that if we always see the students, then we're making great decisions, informed decisions about great teaching and learning. And so that's why I'm just so thankful for my co-authors and the work that we're doing, and that we're being invited into different parts of the United States, different parts of Canada, to share this work, because the goal, let's have teachers feel more capable, confident, resilient, and see the hope and the thrill and excitement of being in this noble profession.
Perfect. I love it. And you know what? I don't have fancy talk like you do. I'm just a simple caveman. And I'm just going to tell you, hey, principal out there, I'm in the trench. I'm in the chair. Hey, principal, don't be lazy and give your new person to the oldest person, because you might not want to do that. I don't know if that's in chapter 15 of your book, but I'm telling you out there.
Chapter 3,
matching. And number two, principal out there, just because you give them to a mentor, you are not scot-free. You have to mentor that person, because you have a vision for the campus. And when you have a vision for the campus, maybe that mentor is not on board with your vision. So that clashes. Now you're training someone to might be a saboteur to your vision. So you got to make sure you get the right fit, like Jim Collins says, for your mentee, and that you follow up every week with that new person on your campus. I'm just telling you, because you know what? I don't want to be in the trench, as Dana tells us in her podcast.
Amen.
That's right.
Rob,
well said. Yeah.
So Rob, tell us about yourself. Tell us how you met Dana and what we.
So I was thinking back, I actually met Dana at a Teach Better conference. I believe it was 2019. So, Teach Better was around. I was in Ohio, and Dana was there, and we kind of connected. And I really just loved that she was able to bring people from all over the educational system, and whatever they were doing, how they were making an impact. And I was able to join her on her 300th episode. So that was a few years ago. And to be back on number 400, it's unfortunate she's having a little technical issues, but we love you, Dana. We know you're doing just amazing work. Keep doing it. The stories that you're able to bring forward from our educators are important for other educators and people thinking about education. For myself, again, retired now superintendent and assistant superintendent of HR, 38 years in the field. I actually was a school psychologist for half of my career, and I tried to do things differently as a school psychologist. Many of our folks became psychometricians, and they just do some testing on kids and disappear. I went to the University of California, Davis, and our program was about the consultative model, how to actually get into the classrooms, how to actually work with the student, with their parents, with their families, with the education system that surrounded them, the teachers and the paraeducators, and everybody, to really get a better understanding about the struggle that every one of our students was dealing with. Not just to qualify for special education. That was too easy, because by doing some tests, everybody can get this. And then we've seen what's happening to special education services. Quite frankly, the best teachers are all over your school, and you have to be able to use every resource that's available for every student in the best way we can. So I did that for a long time, and then was kind of tapped on the shoulder and said, we want you to be an assistant principal. So I was not thrown in. It took me almost 18 years to get that shoulder and that support and say, let's go this way. Did the assistant principal and then principal of a 1,200 student year-round elementary school, which are probably going to come back at some point, but not right now. But a large year-round school where I had the ability to work with our staff, connect with our community, really do some dramatic things. We created a program called Project High Hopes that really looked at every single person on our campus as a positive resource and an influence for students. And so we changed things. It wasn't about sending a child off to a special room to get a service. It was about, we need whatever services that child needs in their classroom, no matter who can give it to them. Let's find the best fit. So we really broke down some barriers, the silos of regular ed and special ed and specialists. We said, we're all in this together for these children, and created that culture. Again, moved my way up then through human resources, where fortunately I was able to hire thousands of teachers over the years and work to support them. And so that was a thrilling part of the job. Being a superintendent, big issues. I was the superintendent of the Mount Diablo Unified School District, over 35,000 students at one time, and then again changed from that position, but found myself back into an executive role, and as I read before I retired, again superintendent and assistant superintendent of HR. That's a lot of work for 9 months, and figured, okay, it's time to move away. But through those years, and again, working with systems, resilience has always been a focus of mine. From my personal early childhood of losing a parent at the age of 13, from really escaping my home situation at the age of 16, finding out that, hey, I need to work full time to pay rent to my brother if I'm going to be able to survive here and still keep going to school.
Right.
Those were some of the struggles. And I do write about those in this book, The Recipes for Resilience. It's a little bit of a personal memoir from my early childhood and getting through some of those traumatic events, but it's also lessons about education and what I found in working with teachers, that it's not always about the curriculum pieces. It's about the emotional connection of helping a child feel safe, helping them feel connected, helping them realize that tough things are going to happen, but every resource, every skill a child can put into their resilience backpack, or a teacher can add to their resilience backpack, they have now skills or strategies to persevere. And, I know Dana had said, how did you do this in a system? In a system of 4,000 employees, 3,000 employees, you can't go around, and it's not like sprinkling resilience sauce on everybody's head.
It's not,
but it's about how you connect with people, how you engage with people, how do you support them in the real issues. And right now, man, in California, there's over 35,000 teachers, I think, who are almost on strike or hitting the picket lines, and we got LA's considering it. And it's real issues, right? It's real issues. It's pay to sustain their families. It's medical care to keep their families safe. It's the working conditions because we don't have supports. It's a struggle right now. And in California, again, as many of our states, we had an influx of money over the past 5-6 years. Some of it was COVID dollars, and now that's kind of whittled away. And then, not to be political, but at the federal level, we're losing a lot of different resources with different changes coming in California. And, we have to wonder, is there some level of other agenda that's afoot rather than really helping our students grow and develop in the best way possible?
Now, Rob, for sure, you have another agenda because you have a brand new book, and that brand new book is for kids.
Yes,
we're getting close to the end. We're getting close to the end of the show, guys.
Okay, let's get it out there. So this is another book that I wrote. It's just recently put out there. It's the story of Sparkle and Shine, and it's about kindness. Because if we are not focused on kindness in schools, for our students, with each other, for themselves, then what the heck are we doing? So this book, it's a children's book, it's a flip book, but it's a lovely read with some beautiful illustrations, and it focuses on Sparkle the elf, spread positive acts regarding kind, loving encounters, and through all of his actions and engaging with people, he brings about Shine, a new elf, significantly help increase niceness everywhere. So this book and this book, they're both available on Amazon. And thank you, Josh, for reminding me, because we do this work. It's not about selling books, but it's about connecting with the people.
And
I
connecting with the people is through 400 episodes with Dana, who is still here. She's in the back. I don't know if she's in the back. She's in the twilight zone or the outer limits, but she's seeing us right now, and I know she needs to tap out. So before we close off the show, Tim, any last words and honors for Dana?
Dana, thank you so much for your leadership, for bringing amazing educators together to have these important conversations, because ultimately we're helping kids learn.
Rob,
Josh, what about you? What's your final go-to, man?
Do you go? I'll close it off. You go.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you for everything you're doing. For everybody in the trenches, keep going. Keep fighting. You may not think it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it for that child, for their lives. Let's help the lives we had let others live be the measure of our success, baby.
And I'd like to thank all the guests on the 400 shows. I don't know number 1. I don't know number 2. I don't know number 3, but I sure do number 400. And you know what, Dana? Thank you very much for inviting this panel today to honor you, ma'am, for all the time. Because people don't know when they run a podcast how hard it is to get guests. I'm telling you, people don't know that this is like a part-time job, and she's done it for 400 episodes. Hey, baby, shout out to you. And if you want to know anything about Josh, reach me out on the PGP podcast every Sunday, 5 p.m. Central. Check us out. It's all about education, from bus drivers to superintendents, all the types of panels, and we're a one-stop shop for you, just like Dana. Happy 400. Thank you, Dana. Say goodbye, panel.
Take care, everybody. Thank you. God bless.
Thanks for taking